Crazy news. UFC 279. Obviously, everyone's heard by now. I'm sure that Hamzat's fighting Kevin Holland, co-main event, 5 rounds, and it's going to be Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson in the main event for 5 rounds, and Daniel Rodriguez takes on Liang. So the same 6 fighters, just different matchups. Crazy. So what do I think, man? That's Hamzat Chimaev misses weight by 7.5 pounds. I don't think he even tried making the weight, to be honest. I think I told a lot of you guys this before. Hamzat Chimaev, he has weight. He's too big for 170. He should be fighting at 185. If not, he's more of an in-betweener, right? But I seen his weight cut versus Gilbert Burns. It was brutal, and it showed in the fight. He was gassing out. That people think he has bad cardio. I don't agree with that. I think he had a bad weight cut, and he was just completely diminished. And you're not going to be 100% physically and mentally going into the fight when you've cut that much weight. Especially you only have 24 hours, and yeah, man, no way he was making the weight. They still wanted to get the fight with Diaz. Diaz was not taking the fight, so UFC, smart decision by them, punishes Hamzat Chimaev by making him co-main event. So he's not getting those pay-per-view points from being in the main event anymore. That was going to be his first pay-per-view main event, and he lost that opportunity against probably his biggest name opponent. Um, yeah, I mean, he's been acting out lately, but I think he's just a bit of a psycho in general. People are like, "Oh, do you think he's just acting different when he's starting fights with Costa and Holland and Diaz backstage, shit like that?" I'm like, I just think that's Hamzat Chimaev. He's like a Russian version of Mike Perry. He just likes to start shit. There's guys like that, and Hamzat Chimaev is one of those guys. Man, that's what I think, though. It's going to be a lot more competitive. That main event, especially, that's a competitive fight. Tony Ferguson, Nate Diaz, that's a fight I've always wanted to see. Two savage Mexicans. They're around the same age. I think it's perfect matchup. That's going to be a great fight. Kevin Holland and Hamzat Chimaev. People think Hamzat's going to run through Kevin Holland. I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot more competitive than what people are giving credit for. Now, that being said, Kevin Holland does have an issue with strong wrestlers. If you've seen his last fight against Marvin Vettori and Derek Brunson, both guys wrestlers, completely dominated him on the ground. Hamzat Chimaev, he's even a better wrestler than both those guys. And I think Hamzat should get it done. Don't get me wrong, especially that he doesn't have to cut the weight. However, Kevin Holland only had to cut to 180. And yeah, so that's a really competitive fight. I think a lot of people are thinking Kevin Holland's just going to get smoked. I don't think that's the case. Kevin Holland, he might even be the better striker out of the two. Kevin Holland's really good striker. He might be the more dynamic striker out of the two. Obviously, the grappling we're going to give to Hamzat Chimaev, especially the wrestling. Now, that being said, I don't think he's going to be able to submit Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's a black belt or brown belt, I believe, under Travis Lutter. Travis Lutter, great jiu-jitsu practitioner. Was in there with Anderson Silva back in the day. He's got wicked jiu-jitsu. And I think that's going to be a great fight. And the fact that Nate Diaz is an underdog against Tony Ferguson, this is confusing to me, because I thought Nate Diaz would actually be the favorite going into this fight, considering the fact that Tony Ferguson has lost 4 straight, including his last loss was probably one of the most vicious knockout losses someone could endure. Like, that was vicious. Like, who knows how this guy's gonna come back from that? Is his chin gonna be 100%? Nate Diaz almost knocked out Leon Edwards, the champ at welterweight. I'm thinking Nate Diaz all day. The only thing is stopping me from betting Nate Diaz big is the fact that Nate Diaz was like in that interview that he's not really training, or I don't know how it was sort of misconstrued, like I'm sick of preparing type of thing. And that's really something you don't want to hear from a professional athlete. especially a fighter. But I think this is a way better matchup for Nate. I think Nate can easily get this done. I don't think Tony Ferguson's going to be able to take Nate down. I don't think Tony Ferguson's going to be able to submit Nate Diaz. I think their jiu-jitsu's pretty close. It might cancel each other out, the grappling and the striking. Now that's going to be interesting. Nate Diaz, probably the better boxer out of the two. However, Tony Ferguson's a really good boxer himself and a little more awkward. He's got a very awkward style to deal with, very unorthodox. But that's going to be really interesting. I think if we see Nate Diaz at 100%, if he came in really prepared like he should have, I think Nate Diaz can get this done. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tony's chin is broken or cracked, so to speak, and Nate Diaz can get that done, I think. And Li Jingliang versus Daniel Rod. I think Li Jingliang has probably got the short end of the stick out of everyone here. Why am I saying that? Because he was fighting at 170. He actually made 170. Daniel Rodriguez made 180. And he's actually a welterweight. Both of these guys are welterweights, but one of them cut to 170, one cut to 180. So one of these athletes had to cut less weight. 10 pounds is a lot. Now, that being said, I don't know if Li Jingliang was already had his weight dropped and how that's going to affect him. He looks better than I've ever seen him. His last few fights, even I counted him out. Like, he's looked better. He's on some crazy communist China steroids or something, training in that like crazy PI they have in China. He looks really good, man. He has looked really good. When he finished Ponzinibbio and he knocked out Muslim Salikov, he's a really good striker. Now, that being said, Daniel Rodriguez, tough Mexican. He's known for having a chin. So I don't know if Li Jingliang is going to be able to knock out Daniel Rodriguez. I do think this fight is going to go to the distance. That's what I think. I don't think D-Rod is going to be able to knock out Jingliang. And I don't think Lee is going to be able to knock out D-Rod. So my pick for that one is over 1.5 or even over 2.5 is good bet. I think this fight goes the distance. Next, Kevin Holland, Khamzat Chimaev. That's crazy. Let's see. The under minus. Yeah. I think Khamzat Chimaev should be able to get it done. The fact that Holland has a hard time with wrestlers, yeah, I know he's been going to AKA, working with high-level wrestlers, but this is something that, takes a lifetime to be good at. So I think Khamzat Chimaev, the fact that he didn't cut so much weight like he did for the Gilbert Burns fight, I think he's going to be have much better cardio going into this fight. Hasn't been 5 rounds before. He's going to be tested against Kevin Holland. I don't know how he's going to finish Kevin Holland other than ground and pound. Kevin Holland, tough dude. He's got his chin and he's going to be talking shit the whole time. They're going to be talking shit to each other. I don't know how that's going to play out. That's going to be a crazy fight to watch. These guys are just going to be talking shit the whole time. These guys got in a fight fucking backstage. Khamzat Chimaev front kicked him in the chest or something. And all hell broke loose. So, just crazy, man. Crazy. So, I think Khamzat Chimaev, should get it done, but I think it's going to be a lot tougher fight than a lot of people are giving Holland credit for. Because Holland's a tough dude, man. Especially at, I think it's at 180. So, and then we got Nate Diaz, Tony Ferguson. Man, I don't know. I want to take Nate, man, but I don't know. Even at the weigh-in, he didn't look so good. His body didn't look the greatest. Tony Ferguson looks ready. I think, what's the over? It's over 4.5. Huh. Yeah, I'm going with Nate Diaz on this one. I mean, this is not a guarantee. I don't, in no way, I suggest you guys betting big on it. I just think, Tony losing 4 in a row, that vicious knockout loss to Chandler. But the thing is, a lot of people are betting Nate. I don't like that. I don't like that. These odds were plus 120. Now they're plus 105. That means a lot of people are betting Nate Diaz. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. And I think if this fight goes to the distance, Nate Diaz leaving the UFC. They don't want him to win. This could be the best thing for Nate. He's probably going to be the biggest free agent in history. If he wins this fight, spectacular fashion, UFC might just, have to back up the Brinks truck, and just be like, hey, bro, we need it. We need you. Here's what you deserve and what you should have been getting the whole time. But who knows? Maybe Nate just bounces. So, yeah, those are my picks. Crazy, crazy news. And yeah, good luck. Out.